Yo, 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 yo. Thank you. So, episode 2, Sewer Symposium podcast, Mushroomhead. Let's just smoke this joint and get it. So, I got into Mushroomhead probably 14 years old. I was huge into Guar and Marilyn Manson and kind of just getting into the Cleveland metal scene. I definitely remember hearing like Crypt Kicker before I ever heard Mushroomhead. But so I remember trying to get my mom to let me go to this Guar show, and she just was not having it. And the Guar show was in Cleveland, so maybe that had something to do with it. But I was 13 at the time of wanting to go see Guar. 14 years old. I hear Mushroomhead, instantly fall in love with the band. Like it was immediate. And the same friend that showed me Guar and Crypt Kicker and stuff like that showed me Mushroomhead. So another show was coming up. I used to go to see, and a lot of people probably, if you were in the Lorain County area or Cleveland area or Northeast Ohio area in general, there was a place in Lorain called the Flying Machine. That was just this shithole bar, hole in the wall with a stage, and it was an awesome place to go see shows. Like looking back now, like there aren't too many experiences that I had close to the experience that I had at the Flying Machine. And so I'm 14. And Vanilla Ice is playing the Flying Machine. Now, this is not old school, like, Ice Ice Baby Vanilla Ice, rap Vanilla Ice. This is new metal Vanilla Ice. I think tickets were $15. My mom lets me go to the Flying Machine. I'm 14 years old at this point. I went with said friend. Actually, a group of friends. I go see Vanilla Ice at the Flying Machine. This is my first ever concert. New metal Vanilla Ice. And so I leave that show, and like maybe a month or two later, my buddy hits me up and he's like, "Hey, Mushroomhead's playing at the Flying Machine." So again, I'm like, really just want to go see. I can't believe that, they're playing super local, because Mushroomhead was such a huge thing to me at that time. And I didn't even realize that they were just like this local Cleveland thing that, like, yeah, they weren't even big at the time, but they were big to me. And so I think tickets to that were $15. That show was in the winter time, which is probably why Mushroomhead's music always reminds me. Like anytime I throw a Mushroomhead CD on, it just gives me like winter vibes. Or if we're in winter time, like I don't know, it just is just always been a thing for me. Mushroomhead reminds me of the winter time, and vice versa. So I go to this show. It's my second ever concert. I see Mushroomhead, and they fucking destroy it live. Now, this would be their last show in the OG costumes, like the original costumes that were all like, they were actually masks that you could pick up at like Spencer's or any mask store in the fucking 90s. Mushroomhead started in 93. So This would have been like 97, 98, somewhere around in there. So I go to this show. I get sick as fuck because I'm wearing like a hoodie to the show and it's so hot inside. I come out, I take my hoodie off because I'm sweating my ass off. And I remember getting sick as hell after this show. And then like Mushroomhead would continue coming to the Flying Machine. I've seen Mushroomhead more than any band, and I've been to a lot of fucking shows. But getting to see them for $15 fucking back in the day, like I can't even tell you how thankful I am that that was a thing. And that Mushroomhead was a Cleveland thing, and it kept it local. So, second Mushroomhead show I ever went to, they had switched over to that new X, the double X look, but it was like really early on. So like the X's in the mouth were literally like sewn to these shitty fucking just. They were just like full cover. I don't even know what the hell they were, but they were like full covered like black masks with the eyes cut out and then X's sewn over that. And then kind of like similar to Sleep Token's earlier masks, where the other members' masks anyways. But yeah, it was like the crude version of what they would develop into like the popular double X pattern. I believe it was also Roxy was at that show. I'm pretty positive, who was there. Like, you can't really say she was a stripper or anything because she wasn't really wearing clothes half the time anyways, but kind of like their dancer. They had two people that did that for quite some time. In the early days, it was Roxy and Bronson, but when I saw Mushroomhead, Bronson had just started playing guitar for them. So they were like, this was like Bronson, and if I had to guess, it would have been early. Let me see. Just so that I know date-wise, because I'm not going to fuck this up. Okay, so Bronson started playing guitars for them in 2001. So it would not have been Bronson. It would have been around the time of early J.J. Righteous, when he was playing guitar for them. And I don't know who the other guitar player... Maybe the other guitar player was Bronson. I don't know. But then Gravy would join the band, and that's basically the lineup that I would continue to see, is Gravy, and I believe it would have been Bronson. Let's see here. Yes, Gravy would have... Gravy started on guitar in 2000. So it would have been Gravy and Bronson that I would see play guitars for them most of the time. I fucking love this band so much. Like, they were, again, I said this in another stream that I did. They were the first ever tattoo that I got. I got that tattoo when I was 16. I just loved everything about them. But I started to notice something, is that they just changed. Like, members were leaving. I was huge into them around the time of their first 3 albums. I got to see them a lot for Super Buick, and mainly a lot of their M3 shit. So around the time that they released M3, you couldn't really say they were touring, because they weren't like a big band. I don't know if they were tours, maybe just shows in general, but they were... I started to see them around the time that they were debuting shit for M3, a lot. Actually saw them so much at the Flying Machine. I don't even know how many Mushroomhead shows I went to at the Flying Machine. I saw them at the Fantasy in Lakewood. Another handful of places. I saw them at the Agora, or it might have been the Odeon, one of the two. I think it was it was the Agora. That's a whole crazy story that I could probably get to, because it would have been around the time that J-Man left the band and Waylon joined. But yeah, I just loved everything about them. Rest in peace to the Haunted Schoolhouse, which is being fucking demolished as of today. But even as a 14-year-old that worked or volunteered at the Haunted Schoolhouse, there were several nights, if not weeks, that I wore a crazy ass dress and football shoulder pads and a devil mask, just like Jeffrey Nothing. There were a couple times where people would walk through. What's up, Scott? Yeah, we're just talking Mushroomhead, bro. And recently, just now, talking about the schoolhouse. But yeah, so at the schoolhouse, the nights that I would work there, sometimes I would wear this, like, it was like a dress, and not like a wedding dress like Jeffrey Nothing wore, but a dress with football pads and a devil mask. And there were a couple times that people would walk through and be like, "Oh, is that dude from Mushroomhead?" But like, that's how into them that I was, that like even on the weekends when I worked there, you know, like some of the nights that I worked there, I definitely wore that outfit plenty of times. But so yeah, I loved everything about them. The keyboards of that band really just fucking, Schmatz was a genius, dude. And maybe not to some people, but to my 14-year-old brain, that dude just, I don't know. There was something about early Mushroomhead keys that are untouchable. So I think, yes. So fast forward. I'm probably 17 or 18 around this time. I was 17. I'm going to the JVS at this time. Yeah, dude, I really, honestly, dude, I want to do a whole podcast if I could and get like as many people that worked at the schoolhouse to do just a whole podcast on like a whole fucking episode, dude, on just working at the schoolhouse, bro. That, because unreal times, dude, amazing times of my life. So yeah, again, R.I.P. the fucking Haunted Schoolhouse in Vermilion. So I think I'm 17 at the time. I was going to JVS for plumbing. A buddy of mine that now lives in Vermilion, Mr. Tony Modick, also still a plumber to this fucking day. We get tickets to go see Mushroomhead again. This would be my first ever. I don't know why I always miss their old Halloween shows, but I just did. And I've seen them. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen Mushroomhead. It's more than 10. I know that. But so I get wind that Mushroomhead is doing a Halloween show, which was an old school show. So I buy tickets to this show. I think they were like 40. I think the tickets were like $40, to be honest. Now Mushroomhead is already like kind of blowing up at this point. They had already been signed. This is after J-Man leaves. I buy a ticket to this shit, dude. We pull up into this gas station in Avon. We were sitting in a fucking driveway waiting for a van full of our buddies that were following us. We're sitting in this driveway in Avon Lake. We back out once we realize the van's coming. We fucking go to this gas station in Avon Lake. I don't know where it's at. I think it's off of 83 or some shit. But we pull in there. Next thing we know, now I'd rolled the fucking blunt and put it in the glove box at this point. Next thing we know, the Avon Lake Police Department rolls up in this bitch and stops the van full of fucking dudes that are with us, but they're all underage kids. Well, I mean, we're all underage, but these fucking kids are drinking in the van, and so the cops fucking start harassing them or haggling them first, because we don't even know why we're being fucked with at this point. So we go to like back out like we don't even know what's going on, and this fucking cop runs up and stops the car, and he's like, "Put it in park, buddy. You're not going nowhere." So he gets out. He gets up on the fucking side of us, and I don't know what's going on at this point, but he finally tells dude to roll down the window. My buddy rolls down the window, and the reason why they're fucking with us is because the person's driveway we pulled into, they said we stayed there and it was suspicious to them. We were literally in this driveway for all of 2 or 3 minutes, and the cops pull us all out of the car. They sit my shit all up on the fucking hood of the car, and shit goes, my cigarettes go blowing off the fucking top of the cop car, or not the top of the cop car, the car that we're in. Cigarettes go blowing off the top of the cop car. They take me and my dude Tony, put us in the back of the cop car, and tell us that, like, basically they found this blunt, and if people don't fess up, blah blah blah, we're ticketing everybody. And they didn't fucking do it, but a lot of people that were involved got fucking in trouble over this shit. Especially the underage kids drinking and shit. So we finally get out of this situation, and we're on our way finally to see Mushroomhead now. So I believe this is at the Agora. We get to the Agora. I reach in my pocket to get my ticket out, and it's gone. So when the cops put me and took all the fucking shit out of my pockets, my Mushroomhead ticket went blowing away in the fucking wind with my cigarettes and whatever else was in my pocket. I didn't have any fucking weed on me or anything like that, but so I run into this fucking scalper outside of the venue. Thank God for scalpers at this point, because now all of my buddies have tickets to get in to see Mushroomhead, and it's a Halloween show, so it's a first for me. And Waylon has just joined the band, so that's also a first. I think it might have been their first major show with Waylon. I could be wrong, but yeah, so I end up paying this fucking scalper $50 for a ticket. So I spent a total of $90 that night to see this Mushroomhead Halloween show. We get in. They already fucking took the blunt we planned on smoking. But we get in. I have a fucking great time at this show. I was already weird about Waylon, and Waylon took forever to grow on me, and I was just being a stupid ass early fanboy of Mushroomhead. And maybe that's what all this turns into now, is I'm the boomer fan of Mushroomhead, and I just can't accept the bullshit that they call Mushroomhead now. But anyways, we'll get into that. So Waylon takes a while to grow on me, and I was just being like this hard-headed fucking dude that like didn't want to accept that J-Man was gone at this point. But when I saw Waylon live, now granted, their album with Waylon hadn't come out yet. So this was all like basically Waylon doing J-Man parts, and after seeing him do it live, I 100% respected the dude, because he killed all of the J-Man parts. And then when he started writing shit with Mushroomhead later on, I enjoyed it, although I didn't like. I know I always fuck up the name of this album because it's the only Mushroomhead album that, like, besides the newest one, that I really just can't fuck with. I think it's called Beautiful Music for Ugly Children. I believe it's called. I did not fuck with that album at all. I couldn't tell you a song off that album. It just didn't do anything for me. And maybe I was in a different stage with Mushroomhead at this point, but I mean, I was definitely a fucking diehard fan. Like, those shirts back in the day, those old school Mushroomhead shirts and hoodies, them shits were still like the first Mushroomhead hoodie I ever owned was like 45 or 50 bucks. Like, they didn't fuck around even. I mean, that's how they made money. So, and I was all about supporting Mushroomhead because they were a Cleveland local band, and I fucking loved that scene. Like, there are so many Cleveland metal bands. I mean, obviously Mushroomhead was created out of all these Cleveland fucking metal bands. They were just a super group, basically. And the reason they wore masks was because they were already in other bands, and they kind of didn't want people to know the other bands that they were in, I guess, was how they started that whole look. But yeah, so Waylon definitely fucking killed it live. When he sang for them on the album after, I think it was the album after what most people call 13. Save Your Sorrow was the first album. Okay, and the one that I fuck up, it's actually called Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children, released in 2010. I don't fuck with that album at all. But Save Your Sorrow was the first album with Waylon, and that dude can sing, dude. I didn't know how I felt about the singing parts at first with Jeffrey Nothing, but I think that they just had a vibe to them that Mushroomhead didn't have, and he still had the heavy shit like J-Man brought to the band, because I think that's what really I loved about Mushroomhead was they had like this singer that Jeffrey Nothing's voice could be only described as eerie. I don't know how else to describe it. Eerie, unique voice. And then J-Man was like, they're like more heavier vocals and like rap metal vocals. They were doing that shit early on. So yeah, J-Man's not in the band, Waylon's in the band, and Save Your Sorrow. So I definitely love Save Your Sorrow, still love that album. But around this time is when kind of Mushroomhead would kind of lose interest for me, because they ended up getting rid of Gravy. They ended up getting rid of Schmatz, the keyboard player. And they got rid of Pig Venus before that, I believe. I think Pig Venus's last album might have been Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children. I'm not sure. But they started doing these changes, and those first three albums are amazing. I would even say like 13 is very special to me in the sense that like that's the album that reminds me most of Wintertime. Like 13 is an amazing album. But yeah, they started to lose me after Save Your Sorrow, the beautiful stories for ugly children. And I kind of just fell off with the band for a little while. And I remember kind of like going back and like there were all these fucking changes. And like I'm not even like a person that's trying to shit on change, and maybe that's the way this will be viewed. I hate to be that fucking like gatekeeper or boomer or whatever, but you know, the guy that's like, oh man, I only like their old shit like when I was in high school. And it's like, no, but this is true for a lot of bands, but especially Mushroomhead. So the Righteous and the Butterfly releases. Before that, I didn't know what J-Man was doing. I knew that he was kind of, I believe around that time, J-Man took some time away from Mushroomhead because his dad was really in bad health. A lot of people said, the rumor for a long time was because they were touring with ICP or some shit. But J-Man's dad is going through a lot of health issues, so he kind of steps back, and I didn't know what he was doing musically, but he was a big part of the Cleveland music scene, probably still is. Not really so much a part of Mushroomhead anymore, even though he's still considered a active member. We'll get to that later. But so I find out that J-Man is doing Pitch Black Forecast, and not too long after this, he has a benefit show for his dad at Peabody's. Not old Peabody's, but the newer Peabody's in Cleveland. And at this benefit show, I think tickets were like probably like 20 or 25 bucks. And one of the most amazing shows ever, because it was a benefit for his dad, but it was also like kind of like an anniversary to J-Man in a sense of like all the time that he had been in the Cleveland music scene. So he literally played shit from Unified Culture, when he was in Unified Culture, when he was in Pitch Black Forecast. Maybe they didn't play any Pitch Black Forecast. Maybe they did. They played some of the Altar Boys, which Ryan Dunn was part of. Most people either know that or they don't know that. But yeah, Ryan Dunn from CKY, Jackass, all that shit was in a band called the Altar Boys with Jason Popson or J-Man from Mushroomhead. But they played 216 shit, which J-Man was lead singer of, which was kind of basically Mushroomhead without Jeffrey Nothing, and kind of like a little heavier take on, but definitely still Cleveland. Like you hear old school Cleveland metal like Runt or Cold Hand of Christ or shit like that. It all has this vibe, this sound to it where you just know it's Cleveland fucking metal, dude. Like, especially like if you were into that scene. So yeah, J-Man has this benefit show. Me, my brother Dustin, and I think even maybe Tony Modick. Maybe not. Maybe my buddy Brian. Maybe it was my buddy Brian. I don't know. But we went to the show at Peabody's. I think J-Man did like 30 fucking songs from his whole entire career. A super amazing show. I found out about a band from the Kent area called Asleep. That was amazing. They opened up for J-Man. And so yeah, J-Man takes time out from Mushroomhead. Fast forward to Righteous and the Butterfly. J-Man comes back, and now it's J-Man, Jeffrey Nothing, and Waylon, 3 vocalists. And I do really like that album, but there's things that I also don't like about that album. I might get shit for it, but Jackie doing vocals on there, like that's a whole nother thing. I have nothing wrong against any female doing vocals in any type of fucking band whatsoever. There's a lot of bands that I listen to that have female vocalists, or that I did listen to. OTEP, Crisis, modern shit, Spirit Box. I wrestled a bear once. I could fucking keep going on and on. There's a lot of bands that I listened to that had female vocalists, and totally respect that. What I didn't respect is the problem with the whole fucking band to begin with. Skinny is dating Jackie, so it's like, hey, let's let my girlfriend do something in the band type shit. Like, it's just some weird extra shit. But there was all kinds of weird extra shit going on around this time. They throw Waylon out, or Waylon leaves. I don't even remember now. It feels like it's been forever ago now. Waylon has since had a change of heart, and that's cool. That I can totally respect his decision to be respectful or civil towards those dudes. It was a big part of his career. But they kind of shit all over him in the same way that they shit all over a lot of people in that band. And most people will be like, what business is it of yours? And it's like, well, I mean, you could say it's none of my fucking business, or it's all of my business, because I gave this band a lot of fucking money, dude. And I mean, like, I supported this band, so like, they're fucking near and dear to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've talked about this on other streams that I've done, where like, some people, myself included, just have that bond with music or artist where we later on, it's kind of like I attribute, the best way I can explain it is, I don't watch modern wrestling, but I will watch shoot interviews, or they're called shoot interviews, but to people that don't know what a shoot interview is, it's basically somebody sitting down with a wrestler from 80s, 90s, 2000s, whatever era of wrestling, and them telling like legit backstage shit that happened, and like the part of wrestling that nobody talks about, nobody really heard about, because I can't stand what's happening like on a modern aspect. Like, I'm just not a modern fan of wrestling. Say what you will, it's just not for me. But so yeah, I would say it's like comparable to this. It's like the same fucking way that I felt. I wasn't really partaking in modern Mushroomhead shit because they had strayed so far away from this experimental sound that I like loved them for. Like, they were definitely heavily influenced by like Faith No More, Mr. Bungle, shit like that. Like, they were just unique and different, and the fact that they were from Cleveland was like even more so like, you know, this is my thing, you know, like it was a lot of people in Cleveland's fucking thing. A lot of people that really supported Mushroomhead would probably say the same thing, and there's people that still support them, and that's like all fair and cool. Like, I'm not shitting on anybody that still loves Mushroomhead. Like, do your thing. Like, this is just my experience as a fan, as a diehard fucking fanboy, and just how I felt about where they're going, what they've become, how the band stands now, things like that. So I've talked about it before, but so somehow, I've watched a lot of interviews. I've done plenty of research, and I you know, I knew people that were acquaintances with the band at one time or another, or are acquaintances with members of the band for one time or another. And so, like, most of Mushroomhead's early beginnings they were all like dudes that were playing in, like I said, a super group of members of other bands. I believe Schmatz was from Telraborg or Teleborg or some shit like that. Jeffrey Nothing was the lead singer of a band called Hatrix. All these other members of the band were doing other things in the Cleveland metal scene, but they all shared the same practice space. Space that these bands would all go and practice in separate rooms or whatever. And those dudes would all end up together time and time again. So that's how Mushroomhead was formed. Well, there's an interview. It's still around. I don't know if it was Jeffrey Nothing or the Gravy interview. There's a Gravy interview where he talks about how Skinny, Steve Felton, so Skinny and Gravy are brothers. Skinny fires Gravy through like an email, and that's kind of just where things started to go weird. Then later members of the band, like, they got rid of the bass player, and like basically everybody's take on the bass player was, so their early bass player, I believe his name was Mr. Murder Nichols, and he played bass for them Mr. Murder Nickel, Joe Kilcoyne or Joe Kilcone, however you want to say it. He was their bass player for a bit, and then his brother took over. Jack was their bass player from 96 to 2012. So everybody basically says the same thing about Jack, that Jack was let go because they just didn't feel that like his bass playing skills were evolving to the point where, especially on a live sense, I guess, that he was just like this. I mean, he was kind of just meant to be like a stand-in for his brother, like a fill-in for his brother, and just ended up becoming a member of the band. But sounds like to me, maybe there was an issue writing-wise. And anybody that's been a part of any type of fucking music, I think that's why I would later on like just make beats on my own or just play guitar by myself, is because too many people are flaky, and it's really hard to keep all these fucking people on the same page without egos and all that kind of shit getting involved, which most people don't even care about. None of this. Like, most people were just like, yeah, I just listen to music. Like, I don't give a fuck about who these people are. And to me, it's no different than anything else. Like, I don't know. If I'm going to give you my money, I kind of want to know something about you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't just listen to music. I'm probably going to buy merch, especially if there were bands that I grew up listening to, or, like Sleep Token. I got a lot of decent amount of Sleep Token merch. I support bands, you know what I'm saying? So, to me, it's every bit my business. And maybe some people care, and maybe some don't. This is just, again, my experience as a fan, my opinion on Mushroomhead and the state that they're in. So, yeah. Righteous and the Butterfly drops. After that, they let go of Waylon, and the thing that they did to Waylon was they took Save Your Sorrow down off of now it's probably back, it's probably up now, but it wasn't for a long time. And so you'd ask, why would they take an album out of their discography off of a streaming platform? And it's the fucking answer is really simple. Waylon left. They didn't really leave on good terms. He didn't really leave the band on good terms, and they were like, "Fuck you! You're not getting paid." That kind of shit. There's no other fucking reason for that, and not to mention it goes further than that. With, if you go and watch the videos that Not all of them. I think Embrace the Ending, or there's a video that's from Save Your Sorrow. Hold on, I'll tell you right now what the song is. I want to say the song is Save Us. Okay, so if you go watch the Save Us video, Waylon is in that video. But any video after that, and maybe this is no, maybe what I'm thinking of is The Righteous and the Butterfly. It is. So any fucking video that they released for Righteous and the Butterfly, Corty, and there's a couple other ones. Waylon is on these. He's on these tracks. He recorded vocals for these tracks. He is completely edited out of every video, and he's talked about this. Like I said, he's since squash beef with Mushroomhead, and actually, I follow him on Instagram, and he was actually at a show. I think it was the first show with Gravy coming back, because Gravy's now back in the band, weirdly enough. But so yeah, just the overall dick moves that they made towards Waylon. Like, it took me a long time to respect this dude. Now I respect this dude, and if you're gonna leave a band and the band wants rid of you, fine, all cool. But when you start shit talking this other person, it just makes it really weird to me, because there's times where bands like Slipknot, where these dudes once called each other brothers, but once money and shit like that gets involved, it becomes a business. It becomes just greed and ego and shit like that gets in the fucking way, which is what kills most music and most bands. Same could be said for a lot of bands. What's up, Pat? Thanks for jumping in, buddy. Yeah, dude, you kind of really summed it up, bro. That's basically what we're talking about, is just like my experience from, like loving Mushroomhead as a 14-year-old kid, getting their shit tattooed on me at 16, my first tattoo, and things that happen leading up to where we're going with the Mushroomhead shit show. So Waylon is now gone. Not too long after that, Tommy Church leaves, and then Jeffrey Nothing leaves. And then there are all these interviews. Yeah, dude, their old shows are fucking... You can't even put into words old school Mushroomhead shows, dude. Like the vibe, the experience, like you said, it was an experience. Super theatrical band. But yeah, so the way that shit was going down in the band, I mean, dude, if you go to their past list of members, like, it's fucking literally revolving doors. Now, some of them, like R.I.P. J.J. Righteous, I believe I got to see him 1 or 2 shows. I'm almost positive that he was at the Fantasy show, and the reason I say that is J.J. Righteous would wear this crazy... He would usually wear, like, the Ace Frehley mask, but I believe he started right before he left the band. He started to wear this, like, troll mask, and, like, I've only seen the mask twice, once in concert, and once on some random underground YouTube video of this dude that collects their old masks. Yeah, Waylon is a fucking solid dude. He is truly a fucking solid dude. But so yeah, JJ Righteous leaves the band. I believe there was drugs and alcohol involved in JJ's departure, and he actually, would go on to pass away later. And they paid tribute to JJ Righteous by the Righteous and the Butterfly, which the Butterfly, from what I believe, is Skinny's wife, who was going through a bunch of health issues and passed away at the time. So they decided to dedicate that album to JJ Righteous and Skinny's wife that had passed. So who are we down? We're down a bass player. We're down. Oh yeah, they've already gotten rid of Schmatz around the time of the Righteous and the Butterfly. I believe Stitch was doing basically keyboard shit at the time. Who's, I don't, from everything that I've seen on Stitch, there's a lot of love for that dude, but he seems to have ruffled a bunch of feathers. I definitely know that I seen him in Waylon fight on video. So there was a bunch of just turmoil in that fucking band, and maybe it was a bunch of dudes that, they had been around each other so much and money's involved. That's cool and all. But around the time that they let Jeffrey Nothing go and Tommy Church leaves, they put this video up almost immediately. And Jeffrey Nothing talks about this, and maybe it's just his take on it or his point of view because he was in the band, but Jeffrey Nothing was a major fucking part of you can't say that he wasn't Mushroomhead. You know what I mean? Like if we're talking members of the band. So they put out this video, and he talks about this, and I didn't notice it at the time, but I definitely noticed it, and maybe it's, again, just his point of view. They put out this video. It might even still be up. And it says, "Nothing is forever," which is very weird because we just talked about nothing lasts forever in the last episode with Sleep Token. So very odd, but same fucking thing. So if you look at it from a fan standpoint, "Nothing is forever" is a tribute to Jeffrey Nothing lives forever, in Mushroomhead, because the dude that was filling in for him, the new singer, that's on the newest album, Steve, I think, Rockhouse, or something. I probably just butchered dude's name. I know that he had Steve Rockhorst. So he had prior ties to the band, was always like one of their friends type shit, played bass, I believe played bass in another couple of Cleveland bands. Like most of the dudes, they already had ties to the band or were associated with the band in one form or another. And so they have Steve singing for basically replacing Jeffrey Nothing, and it's eerily super close to Jeffrey Nothing's voice. And it's odd to me that bro, I even felt kind of the same way about Waylon at one point. I respected the fuck out of him doing J-Man's parts live, and he killed it. But then I also started to think okay, so you can do J-Man's parts, but what happens when you actually have to write music? You know what I mean? What does their original shit sound like? And this new Mushroomhead fucking ain't it, bro. It's not it, dude. It's definitely not it. I literally have tried to listen to the album, and Jackie is on it a lot. Now, Jackie is also, weirdly enough, her and Skinny aren't together anymore and no longer part of the band, so it's almost kind of exactly like I thought or said, that was the only reason why she was part of the band. Like, I just wasn't into, like, prime example. I'll be so fucking crazy sad if I'm wrong about this, but I don't think that I am. I'm going to look into it right now. But the song "One More Day" off of, it was off of 13. It's the second song with female vocals, right, that I ever heard of in Mushroomhead. The first being the song "Mommy" off of their self-titled album, which released in 93, 94. But we're going to go to... Okay, so I'm not wrong. "One More Day" features guest vocals by Devin Gorman. So, one of my favorite Mushroomhead songs. Female singer in the background. Fucking amazing song. Jackie just didn't do it for me. And so, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a lot of other people that think the same way, that like Jackie just didn't do it for them. But it was more so that like her and fucking Skinny are together. Like, that's why she was part of the fucking band. Like, and that's the craziest part of this whole fucking story is there. I was getting into it at one point, but there is an interview. There is an interview with Gravy, I believe it is. Gravy or Jeffrey Nothing, where they talk about when they were first auditioning drummers for the band. And maybe Steve Felton was the drummer for Hatrix. Maybe that's what they were discussing. But Gravy told Jeffrey Nothing, or Jeffrey Hatrix, however you know him as. I always called him Jeffrey Nothing. But one of them talked about how they were told, you know, he's an 18-year-old kid, don't hire this dude. So he was like, basically, if you want to look at it in the business standpoint, kind of the same sense, and I mean, call me out if I'm wrong. Yeah, most people didn't like Jackie singing in the band, dude. And it's, again, it has nothing to do with she's a female. Like, I don't know. It's just weird to me, bro, that like that whole time period of the fucking band, like, it's where they started to just, like, they're deteriorating. Like, Tommy Church is gone, which is their guitar player at this point. And they fucked him over, and Jeffrey Nothing talks about it, where they were, so from my understanding, Tommy Church was actually fucking bullied in that band, which, like, most people would be like, oh, bro, you're like, you know, you're a fucking grown man, stand up for yourself. But it's like, do you stand up for yourself against this fucking dude who's been a part of this, you know, probably, okay, so let's say it was Stitch or somebody like that. Stitch at this point had been in the band for a long time. So if he fucks with somebody like Stitch, everybody else that's been there for a while is going to be like, fuck this dude. You know, like, it's just not going to turn out good for him regardless. But Jeffrey Nothing talks about it. And I don't know how, basically, like, a hired gun becomes, Waylon, he's in a new band called A Killer's Confession, and I dig him, but I don't know, dude. Waylon will always, it's kind of weird because I wouldn't have said it to you a long time ago when Waylon first joined the band, because it was kind of like that, you know, that he's the new member, like, maybe the kind of hazing that goes on, you know, inside the band or whatever when you're a new member. But Waylon had kind of, they had talked about Waylon, you know, before. So So basically, back on track here. Tommy Church was bullied out of this fucking band. Jeffrey Nothing said he told them, like, they were in like Germany or some shit like this. He tells them to fly his guitars back to the States, and he's leaving and shit, and they fuck him over and like leave them in a totally different country, and he has to pay for them to be like shipped and everything. Like, they just did it to be dicks to him, dude. And they did the same shit. Like I said, if you watch the Nothing Is Forever video, you can say from a fan standpoint that this is like an homage to Jeffrey Nothing, but Nothing Is Forever. Maybe that's a fucking pun in itself, you know. And that's the way Jeffrey Nothing looks at it, is, you know. And I don't see him making amends with them ever, dude. Like, they basically flat out. How many original members are there left, Pat? One. Skinny, the dude that somehow, that is the mystery to Mushroomhead, bud. This was a joint thing. Like I said, Mushroomhead was created by a bunch of a group of bands from Cleveland that all practice in the same practice area. So I don't know how this drummer, nobody has flat out said, like, yeah, Skinny's the one that came up with the idea for Mushroomhead, and Skinny's the one that came up for the name, but like, Skinny just runs that shit now. And Jeffrey Nothing and a lot of other fucking people mention it too, that Mushroomhead literally became a business, meaning you walked into a studio, you fucking punched in, and you punched out. Like, that's not how music is made. That's not from the heart, bro. Like, that, there's no fucking soul to that, and it speaks volumes as to their old shit compared to modern shit. Like, it blows it out of the, it's not even the same fucking band, and all the way through, like I just said, Pat just asked, how many original members are there left? Like Scott said, not many. Yeah, one. They still have Jason Popson listed on their active members, but J-Man has not been a part of Mushroomhead since COVID, bro. They have this other dude touring with them now, and it's a fucking, it's not even, yeah, I don't know how he ended up with the reins to this band, or even the say so, or, you know, I mean, these dudes, and there's no rumor about it, dude. These dudes were all, like, at one point fucking a bunch of potheads, and Mushroomhead was very speed oriented from people that I know that knew members of the band. And that's not like just one or two people that I've heard say, like, and it's a thing, bro. Like, you know, it's rock and roll, dude. You know, drugs are obviously going to be involved. And I'm not saying that's what's going on in the band now. But maybe what's happened maybe is some people have grown up and some have not. Jeffrey Nothing has kind of more or less completely changed his life, because if most people didn't know, if you go back and listen to, okay, so Mushroomhead songs were heavily influenced by David Lynch films. So like Twin Peaks, they sample Twin Peaks, and David Lynch films. What else? Star Wars. They reference Star Wars a lot. Greedo died by the hands of Solo. That line that J-Man says. And that's not the only time that they've talked about Star Wars. So, but a lot of their music was kind of like questioning religion. The number 40 or the song 43 is about religion. The new Cult King is about religion. There's a lot of Mushroomhead songs that are about religion, or not religion, but questioning those beliefs. So, and not in a, I wouldn't say not in a offensive way, but more so of a questioning way, like literally a questioning. Yeah. Hmm. They just were very like that generation, like I said, Star Wars, David Lynch, but a lot of their music touches on questioning religion, or topics about that. In the song 43, he says, "What is the sign for?" There's so many, like, the fucking folding chairs in the hallway reference is a church. Like, all there's a ton of that shit, but more so recently, Jeffrey Nothing, I believe, there's actually a YouTube video of him, like, basically doing a testimonial, and like him allowing God into his life, and it's like, yeah, dude, like, I give you props, bro. Like, it makes me respect somebody that, like, at one point questioned that in their life, and then now are like good with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, to me, it shows signs of growth. You know what I mean? It shows signs of growth is how I feel about it. Like, regardless of how you feel or don't feel about religion. Topic we're definitely not going to get into. But yeah, so, Jeffrey Nothing is kind of, and from the last I saw, he wasn't in there. There were kind of, I think there was a GoFundMe for him not too long ago where he was kind of having some health issues, and that's another thing that these dudes have talked about is, like, he's getting older, his voice is fucked, and, like, bro, he's released music since being in Mushroomhead, and I'm not saying it's the best, but I'm saying it's still Jeffrey Nothing. And not to mention, like, it's kind of weird because their new singer is very much, didn't one of them become an ordained minister? Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I know a decent amount of Mushroomhead history. What I don't know, or I guess where I kind of lack on, is dates, like actual dates. Like, I can tell you that I got into Mushroomhead when I was 14, and I believe that I went to, like I said, I think my first show was, like, I was maybe 15. Yeah, like, it would have probably been the winter. So my birthday's in May, so it would have been the winter, that following fall winter would have been when I went to see them live for the first time. But yeah, I don't. That's the only thing that I get fucked up is dates on shit. As far as, like, bro, if you don't believe me, go to their fucking Wikipedia page and look up their list of past members. That's why dates are a hard thing, because it was literally fucking revolving doors for a while. And at the end of the day, if you love their music, that's fucking great. I love it for you, dude. If you like it, I fucking love it, dude. I love it for you. So, I'll say that, but I don't have that same vibe to them. And then basically to where they are now is, like I said, J-Man has not been in that band since COVID hit. Stitch actually was on a hiatus for around the same time as J-Man, but I believe he's since come back. And like I said, Gravy made a return. It's whatever's going on in Mushroomhead right now is fucking really weird. So yes, there are two members that are original, but not really. It's weird, bro. Two members. So the two brothers and Dave Felton is a fucking amazing guitar player, especially if you're into like any type of like, I guess you could say like doom metal or like, he kind of has his own like, I think that's what the Cleveland sound is to me, is like this, it's like the tone of their guitar, and it has a very kind of almost like a southern, like a Down, the band Down from New Orleans, lead singers Phil Anselmo, that Down. They kind of have those type of vibes to them, like his guitar playing. He said that when he played guitar in Mushroomhead, he basically played around schmatz because, like he wanted to complement keyboards and shit like that, or play along with them, so everything was kind of just like easy for him to throw together because they already had a foundation, and he's a good enough guitar player that it would have been no problem for him doing something like that. But yeah, dude, I don't know. There's a lot of people that could say none of this fucking matters to them. They don't care about none of this behind the scenes shit. But I think that's the problem. A lot of people worry about celebrities and shit like that. But if you're a music lover or a lover of art, just art in general, okay, and you support artists, I think it is kind of your business as to what goes on really doesn't matter. But what does matter is like they're not Mushroomhead to me now. Like I loved, even again, Save Your Sorrow with Waylon. Total different change to the band. Like you listen to 4 albums. I don't even count Double X. The Double X album was basically Mushroomhead's greatest hits when they got signed to Universal. Like it was more or less remastered versions of early songs that they released already. These Filthy Hands, Never Let It Go, Blomp. A lot of those were off of Super Buick and M3. So Double X to me, yeah, it was big for me. I'll never forget. Like, I believe my mom called me and was like, "Hey, I just heard them play Mushroomhead on the radio. I just heard their name and they were talking about them on the radio." And like literally, I found out like right after that they had signed to that deal to Universal. So to me, like at the time, I was thrilled. Like Mushroomhead's finally gonna get the love that they deserve. But as with many other bands, I think it kind of goes to their head, or something. Bands become business, and it's no longer about fucking the love of doing it. Like Jeffrey Nothing said, you literally punch in when you walk into the studio and punch out when you walk out. That's definitely not how you fucking make music, bro. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, again, dude, whatever blows your fucking hair back, but maybe I just respect music, and I would say that I'm no fucking absolute crazy musician myself, but definitely played guitar for a long time. Definitely messed around with tons of electronic equipment, whether it be keyboards or any type of synthesizer or samplers even. I've messed around with a lot of shit musically, and maybe that's what it is. You know, they're this group of dudes that have been together for so long, and they just music no longer becomes like their thing. You know, I don't know. There's weird fucking theories out there, and I could sit there and go on and on about rumors all day. Like, for instance, you know, I believe Jeffrey Nothing talked about it at one point that around the time that J-Man first left the band, that not only was it due to his dad having health issues, but he was kind of just in a different place creatively. And from what Jeffrey Nothing said, now again, this is all fucking rumors and it doesn't matter, but I'm throwing it out there that J-Man wasn't enjoying the whole rap part, like him having to come up with these rap parts. Yeah, Mushroomhead should have been really fucking superstars, bro, and that leads me to the whole point of all of this. Could be none of my business, or there's a fucking reason why Mushroomhead isn't on the level that a lot of bands from that same fucking time frame just... I mean, these dudes are still fucking selling their masks, bro. Like I'm saying, like, they'll... Hey, props to you if this is your fucking thing, but it's not mine. So what Mushroomhead does, from what I understand, they will have masks made for a tour, right? They tour in these fucking masks, and then they sell these masks once the tour is over. And it's like, well, why are we doing all this? You could save a whole fucking lot of money by just keep one mask, bro. Like, you know, at least a design. You know, I feel like that's... Mushroomhead back in the day, dude, like, every member, it's no different than Sleep Token. It's no different than any other theatrical band. If you have people that are up there wearing fucking masks on stage or makeup or something, you really can't tell emotion with people wearing masks other than whatever that fucking mask shows, right? So they almost developed characters on their own. And then you as fans, or we as fans, if you're fucking nerdy into shit like that, like I am, you fall in love with shit like that. The characters grow to be like Pig Venus, dude. Like, the dude always, like, he was just known as the dude that wore the pig mask. He would put he was the only one that wore the bandana backwards, and he even did it when he switched to the regular double X mask. But, like, known to be a pothead, like, that was just Pig Venus's, like, character, you know what I mean? Like, he was just that fucking dude, like, the pig guy, you know? And I think that's where a lot of this shit... I mean, I could do a whole nother fucking episode about Slipknot and Mushroomhead beef that really... I don't know. That whole thing. And that's where kind of like this Mushroomhead thing leads to, is like... So they say, you know, like... And it's not just Skinny that said it. But there's other members of Mushroomhead that have said that Roadrunner Records approached them with, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, either live or later on down the road, because this video will be up. I don't even remember what I was saying now. That's how pissed off I get about talking about Mushroomhead, dude. It's just, dude, it's insane to me. Like, I literally, I know what I was saying. The Roadrunner Records thing. They said that it was for $1 million, And then right after that, this is Mushroomhead's side of it, which, if you know anything about what I just talked about tonight, you could fucking probably just take it with a grain of salt. But the Mushroomhead beef was basically based around, they were approached by Roadrunner Records. They turned Roadrunner Records down for $1 million. You're this up and coming band. You obviously turned Roadrunner down for a fucking $1 million contract. Why wouldn't you? You know, right? You know what I mean? Nah, dude. And again, not just Skinny has said this. Other members of the band, even Jeffrey Nothing has said this, that right after that, Slipknot signs to Roadrunner Records, and their beliefs are they couldn't sign Mushroomhead, so Roadrunner designed a Mushroomhead, which they're nothing alike, dude. You know, they're nothing fucking alike, dude. Mushroomhead and Slipknot, that whole thing never made fucking sense to me. Their music is not anything like the other because it has samples and DJs. Or, I mean, you know, early Mushroomhead, they had DJ Virus was his name. But I mean, it's like they weren't anything fucking alike. But yeah, that's the story of Mushroomhead supposedly was supposed to. So that's what I mean, dude. They're saying that they could have signed this $1 million fucking contract to Roadrunner Records, and they got signed to Universal. Not that Universal's terrible. I don't know how they treat their artists. I'm more inclined to support artists that don't want to sign to a fucking label, and I know that's a lot. That's not really heard of in the metal scene all that much, but especially in the underground rap scene, like people like Bones and shit, they own all their own shit. You know, you sign to these labels, especially early on, chances are they own your fucking masters and everything, dude. And then it does become about, like, you know, you're signed to a fucking label and you have to release three albums in a year and a half, 2 years, something along those lines, or an album per year. It's not even about music at that fucking point, bro. So I'm more inclined to support you and spend my money if you're just hustling, dude. And don't lose the fucking hustle. And I know that everything has to change and grow, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe the whole problem is I'm a fucking boomer, and I haven't accepted Mushroomhead's growth. But I don't think that's the case. It's not in my eyes, anyways. I'm not gonna. I mean, this is just my opinion again. Like I would love to, you know. Again, I look forward to talking about subjects with, you know, just subjects, topics, things along, anything that we could talk about that's like music related, retro related, or, and I mean that's video games, anything. Like I'm just like. I could talk about Mushroomhead with anybody, and maybe they have a totally different opinion of what I do, but I definitely bought a lot of their albums, and I'll even go as far as to say this. If I could find some of those early Mushroomhead vinyls, and I'm not talking re-releases, like OG presses, I would still buy them shits. For the right price. I mean, like, those albums still, like, I still would listen to them. This doesn't mean I hate Mushroomhead. I'm just not a fan of, I can't even, like, it's not even Mushroomhead. It's not even like a it's not even like a fucking, it's like a poor attempt at a fucking tribute band. Because they I don't know, they just lost that experimentalness that they had early on, and keyboard's gone, dude. Like, that was a big part of the band. And then, like I said, they don't even have either of their original singers anymore. Now, they haven't released any new material. They're just touring. But let's see. Let's see here. Okay, A Wonderful Life, the newest Mushroomhead album, released 2020. So basically, like, pretty much the beginning of, like, the major shit with COVID. So definitely understand why, not a lot of bands were touring around that time. And it really fucking sucks when you're a musician and you literally and that's probably why tickets are thousands of fucking dollars now, because of stupid shit like we shut down every fucking thing. And I'm not saying that concerts was a smart idea around the time of COVID, but right when everything started to fucking settle down and they start, letting concerts and everything take place again, bro, you can't get concert tickets, or they're thousands of fucking dollars. It's insane to me. I mean, again, dude, most of my Mushroomhead tickets, I can tell you right now. I can 100% positively tell you right now. Almost every Mushroomhead ticket that I bought to the Flying Machine was in the ballpark of $15 to $20. Probably $18 because of head charge or whatever. Like, if you were under 18 or some shit, I think it was more. I mean, anybody's free to correct me on whatever, but yeah. So I paid literally next to nothing, for a long. And I'm not saying fucking ticket prices should be $15 because bands got to make money. But that's kind of the fucking problem with the music scene. Especially bigger labels, and that's a whole other rant, getting off the topic of Mushroomhead. But yes, there is no, the only fucking member right now, original member, is Truly Skinny, because Gravy didn't come in until after JJ Righteous, around the time that JJ Righteous stepped out, I believe. And maybe I don't know. It says that JJ Righteous was a part of the band till 2000. So I can tell you right now, there was at least a year to 2 years where I saw Mushroomhead in that time period that probably was JJ Righteous playing. But yeah, I definitely remember seeing their guitar player at the Fantasy in Lakewood, wearing the what's up. I saw Within Temptation, and it was $115 for 2 tickets at the Agora. Yeah, dude. Here's the thing, okay? $115 isn't bad for 2 tickets at the Agora, and I'll tell you why. Because at the Agora, I don't think you actually have to truly be fucking seated. $10 and $2 cover charge for my first show. Right, bro. Right. $12 fucking dollars, bro. And you were seeing Mushroomhead, like, old school Mushroomhead. They talk all this shit about, like, their Halloween shows are old school shows, but truly, there's nothing like those old school shows. And I mean that by, like, if you were seeing Mushroomhead from 93 up until 99, 2000s-ish, you're getting a hell of a show, dude. They literally fucking kill it live, dude. And maybe, people still say that now, but I have watched plenty of modern live Mushroomhead videos. And solid recorded ones. Like, I'm not going to sit and watch a concert on YouTube if the audio quality is fucking butt sauce. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to get good recordings of a concert, but there are some people that can do it, you know what I mean? Or if it's professionally done. But it ain't it for me, dude. It's just not it for me. Yeah, 10 and 10, that's crazy, dude. The- We had it fucking made, bro. We had it made, dude. Like I said, man, I paid I said it at the beginning of this whole podcast. My first ever concert. I was 14 years old. It was at the Flying Machine, and it was when Vanilla Ice was released that new metal CD. Oh yeah, see, Pat, I didn't get to see the Mushroomhead when you could get $15 T-shirts. No, maybe one or two of my earlier T-shirts were 15 and $20, but I definitely know I paid $45 to $50 for my first. I believe it was a M3 hoodie, and it was from the Flying Machine. I got it at the Flying Machine. I wish I still had that hoodie. I do, however, still have an old school. Yeah, dude. I do, however, have an old school Mushroomhead T-shirt that I bought at one of these haunted flea market convention things that I've gone to. It's a old school Mushroomhead shirt with Roxy on it, and it's kind of a harder to find shirt. I used to have an old school all white T-shirt with them, and oh yeah, that's Asia. That's the whole thing. Like, there are bands now that are actually standing up for themselves. I'm not gonna mention the main dude doing it right now because I'm not gonna give the dude any credit, but there is modern bands right now that are saying those same things that you're saying, and not. And the crazier part about that is, I've known that for a long time, and I say that because Evan used to talk to me about when he would set up for tours and shit like that. Like, venues take, like, their own cut out of it, and it's like, how the fuck are these dudes? Like, I get a small percentage, bro, because they're putting on this event, or you basically could look at it in the sense of these musicians are renting this space. Okay, so cool. I totally understand on that aspect, but I don't know, man. It really takes the fucking wind out of what music really was, in my opinion. And again, we get to this full circle conversation where some people are just going to be like, yeah, bro, you're just this old dude that's mad about modern music. And it's like, no, dude, I'm not mad about modern music. Actually, I enjoy a lot of fucking modern music. Really, I do. The sad part about it is it's just gotten worse industry-wise. All my shirts turned to threads. Yeah, those early shirts, bro, were... Now, the one that I have, it's like an extra large or an extra extra large, and it's kind of hefty, dude. Yeah, $75 to $100. Fuck off. I don't know, dude. I could fucking talk music all day, dude. I literally could, but I'm trying to keep this just, I don't know, man. Again, I'm not dogging modern music. I like a lot of modern music. Sleep Token's modern. Well, I mean, 2019 to me, but still modern enough that, like, I don't know. I support fucking modern music. I support modern bands, but, bro, I'm not paying $75 for a hoodie, dude. And I know why it's happening. Because they're getting fucked on touring, dude. They're getting fucked on all this other shit. I don't know. It's just weird to me, Maybe it's just me getting older, I guess. And sitting around like, damn, the fucking golden days of all these bands. But Mushroomhead was one that I felt like just as much as I've loved or hated any other band, Mushroomhead was a topic that I definitely wanted to touch on. I don't think there was too much that again, you can go check. There's tons. I wish I could leave links to where all of these videos are, but I can tell you there are tons and tons of interviews on YouTube still to this day with other members of Mushroomhead. Gravy, Jeffrey Nothing has at least 2 or 3 more recent ones. I'll say that again. 2 or 3 probably from the time that he left the band that are actually talking on Mushroomhead. He's done other interviews or been on shit where he talked about plenty of other things, because there's more to Jeffrey Nothing, obviously, than he's just the lead singer of Mushroomhead. It's no different than anybody else. And I think that's where things get all fucked, is because people are viewed in this totally different light now, where, like, if you're not fucking king shit on fucking TikTok, dude, you're not making it. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, because it no longer becomes about talent, dude. It's what fucking sells and what doesn't sell, or it's crazy, dude. But yeah, I think that Mushroomhead just got kind of caught up in that whole wheel. It's unfortunate, dude. And I've talked about it with my friends for fucking years, because I didn't hear Mushroomhead on my own. Again, a buddy of mine showed him to me, and so, dude, and you can go back and listen to all those fucking old albums. They all still, even to this day, hold up. Especially, like, I don't know. I still listen to a lot of, as much as I like modern music, there's still a lot of older music that I listen to. And again, I would definitely buy those OG Mushroomhead those early presses on vinyl, like of Super Buick, or even the self-titled. I know I have seen Super Buick, or maybe it was self-titled, at like $200 on vinyl, and like that's a lot for vinyl, but bro, that's how much that band meant to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy to me that, again, I don't think it will ever solve the mystery of how same thing that could be said for Slipknot, dude. I mean, we can literally say that same thing for Slipknot, because their more recent, it wasn't the last 2 band members that they fired. It was Chris Fane, the the dude with the real long nose. I forget what number he is in Slipknot, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Slipknot. Just never really. I love that first album, but I didn't really listen to them that much after that. But yeah, that dude Chris Fane basically outed Slipknot for for saying that he was nothing more than pretty much a hired gun, you know? Like they paid him he was like a touring member, you know? This dude that had been with them for years, they're just like, yeah, you're not getting paid, bro. Go somewhere else. Fucking crazy, dude. And I don't know, there are rumors again that that could have been dude had a drug issue, and given the fact that Paul had died, they were kind of on a, you know, we're not putting up with fucking drunks and druggies anymore, dude. You can't really blame them. And honestly, like, there's no way that Mushroomhead could have ever been mentioned without Slipknot being mentioned. So, but yeah, Chris was saying that they basically, you know, it was like some type of fraud shit, you know, and definitely was unhappy about the whole fucking thing. And it's just, to me, it's like an ultimate fuck you of like, no, bro, even though you went through all this shit while we were touring that we went through, and all this shit that we have to do year round. Yeah, you're just like this touring member, bro. Go somewhere else. Fuck off. Fuck out of here. That's crazy to me, bro. But I guess, maybe it's because that kind of money's never been in my hand. I guess you never know. You never know till you lived it, I guess. But yeah, to me, it's just, it shows like Corey and Clown basically were the ones called out in the lawsuit. Corey's not, if we're getting technical, Corey's not even an original member of Slipknot, and he owns this huge part of it. I guess maybe that's the problem. I don't know the ins and outs of how these bands form. They're all putting in. How do we decide, hey man, this bass player guy's just not really hacking it. Fuck it. We're giving him $75 a show instead of 200. I don't know how that happens. And how do the people that decide those things get to be the ones that decide those things? It makes no fucking sense to me, dude. Again, call me crazy, but we're literally sitting here saying that not even an original member of a band, and I'm not talking about Skinny, not even an original member of a band, I'm talking about Corey Taylor, like, owns a huge part of that. Because he's a lead singer, I don't know how does that work. And then Clown, I understand he's a founding member, but so are Joey and so were Paul, and I'm sure, you know, like, R.I.P. both those dudes, but I'm sure their families are still getting money from that shit. But it's like, are they getting paid fucking their part? That's insane to me, dude. Maybe it's decided on who actually writes. Maybe that's what it all boils down to. Similar to a Sleep Token thing. You know, a drummer and the lead singer of Sleep Token write all the music, and like keyboard. I believe Vessel does keyboards, guitar. I definitely know he plays guitar, and he obviously plays keyboards. He plays piano and shit like that. But I don't know if that's the whole problem behind this. If Skinny is basically saying that he's the one writing all of this material then that's what puts him at the helm. I, I, I don't fucking know, and I don't think I ever will know. But I felt like talking about it because it's goddamn ridiculous, dude. Really. And it's like this bittersweet thing. You know, like this band that you adored just like I don't know. Maybe it's like I guess I call it the Hulk Hogan effect, you know? Know when to fucking pass the torch, buddy. You don't have to keep leg dropping people. You know what I mean? Pass the fucking torch, dude. If literally the only founding member of Mushroomhead is the drummer, you tell me how it's, and maybe that's where I'm wrong, is the consistency of things. You know, like I I love music and I love musicians that are consistent, but there is such thing as too consistent. You know, where everything starts to kind of sound the same. But I don't think that was the case with Mushroomhead. You know, they were evolving and growing sound wise, but it still had that Mushroomhead feel to it. I would say at least for me, at least through Save Your Sorrow. There's parts of the Righteous and the Butterfly that sound old school Mushroomhead to me, but for the most part, it's not it, dude. It's not it. But yeah, I think that's gonna pretty much do it because I'm just gonna end up again as anything else. I've already talked for let's see how long, almost 2 hours now. So I'm a broken fucking record, bro. But again, my opinions on being a Mushroomhead fan and like from I guess you can't say the beginning, but kind of the beginning, dude. Since I definitely started listening to them when Super Buick was released, second album, they were still doing all of that old shit that they did, as far as their sound, their look. Hell, I was even accepting of their new look. I actually thought all of the members kind of wearing that same style shit looked really cool. And they still, again, were characters when they were like that, but at some point, it just fell the fuck off for me, you know? It's just, again, the question will always be asked: how does just a member of the band own this shit? Because I want to know. It's insane. Be the one that makes the decision on, okay, you go, we need you in the studio today, like we're done with you. It's fucking weird to me, dude. I think that should be like a group thing. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's not how shit works. Maybe that's wishful thinking. But anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up. And sorry if I rambled on, but I'm stoned, and that's my take on, or my experience with Mushroomhead. I think it was a solid one for being a solo video. Yeah, I will. I'm sure I'll be streaming soon. So I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for everyone that stopped in. Definitely everyone that hit me up in chat, dude. That kind of helps because it gets me shit to bounce off of and talk about, and it's cool to see other people's experiences on it. But yeah, I will catch you guys again. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.